Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to It Tastes Different Gaming. Today, I would like you to click like, subscribe, and make sure you're not a robot. What's on the menu? We overcook the TV dinners with Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries. Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries, originally released on Steam back in 2019, has been released on Xbox the 27th of May. You can pick it up on Game Pass. It was developed by Piranha Games. And let's dive right into it. Let's start off with Nick, because I think this is probably, out of everybody, is more of a Nick wheelhouse kind of game. I've always enjoyed it, Mac, but let's see what Nick's think.
Sure. Just a correction. It was on Epic Game Store and Windows stores December 19th, or December 10th, sorry, of 2019. And then recently came out to Steam and Xbox Game Pass on
Exclusivities are confusing to me.
On May 27th, 2021. But just so everybody knows, you're like, what? That was on Steam? That's because it wasn't. This game's good. I like it. I mean, it's a good game. It's if you are familiar with the Mechwarrior franchise and kind of the Mechwarrior games, you shouldn't be surprised on what you're getting into when you start playing this game. Mechwarrior's always been very detailed in your mechs and how you build and develop your mechs, and all sorts of different. You got to think about all sorts of different things when you're customizing and creating your mechs, as well as when you have your mech out on the battlefield. So if you're a fan of those types of games and kind of doing customization, and it's kind of like playing with miniatures but in a video game, if you like that kind of thing, you'll enjoy this. I think it was really fun. This game does have a single player campaign. It does have a somewhat co-op campaign. It's not really what we would want in a co-op, and we'll probably talk about that. I'm sure someone else will mention that. But it does have some other multiplayer modes that are a lot of fun. So I think this game is really fun. It's really cool to customize your mech, like I said, and all the different, and just to learn all the different names for everything and what all the different systems it does, because it's not just point and shoot. I mean, you have stuff to stop your mech from overheating or turning on a automatic missile detection system, and all sorts of different stuff like that you can turn your mech into and make sure that your mech doesn't weigh too much so it can actually move, right? So yeah, this game's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Pat, what did you think of this one?
Yeah, I would agree. If you're a Mechwarrior fan, this is probably right up your alley. I do know that there's a lot of people that are complaining that Mechwarrior 5 dumbed down some of the capabilities. I mean, there was a lot more functions and features in Mechwarrior 5 or 4 that didn't quite make it into 5, and I'm not sure why. There's a few things that don't make sense to why they did it in 5. But overall, 5 is fun enough, I should say, especially because, for us, it was a Game Pass game, so it was free. So really, that's probably where this one is at. It's not a buy brand new $60 game for me, but it is one that I normally play, the Mechwarrior series. It's got all the fun stuff you could want. Blow things up with rockets, lasers, machine guns, flamethrowers, whatever you want. A plethora of mechs that you can choose from, and loadouts to designed, as well as Nick alluded to, like playing miniatures. You can paint your mechs so they can have whatever paint scheme you want. Overall, it was fun. I will admit that I was a little disappointed in the multiplayer. It wasn't what I was hoping it was going to be, because when something says co-op campaign, I'm thinking play the campaign with your buddies. But it's not exactly like that, and doesn't play well. It would probably get better as you progress further in the story and you unlock more pilots and stuff. But in the beginning, like, we want to play right off the bat with our friends. That's not what this game doesn't tend well to play right off the bat with your friends. You need to have your mercenary unit outfitted pretty well before you start co-oping with your friends, and it only progresses your story, not your friend's story. So it's an okay game for me. It's a little bit above middle of the road. I would say it's a little bit better than average, but it's, in my opinion, it kind of is a dumbed down Mechwarrior game. Russ, what do you think of this one?
This is just another one of the series of IPs, or at least list of games, the major major titles that I'm absolutely tired of. I'm so sick of them. I'm tired of playing these kind of games. I'm tired of playing games like Resident Evil. I wish we'd have something new. Yeah, I'm a little bit ranty right now. I'm trying to, again, like Pat and Nick said, if you are a fan of Mechwarrior, this is going to be right up your alley. It's going to be perfect. I feel like I was playing the same game that I was playing in 1995 with updated graphics and maybe a couple of new toys. I am a little bit burnt out with the release of games right now. Maybe it's all the same IPs and stuff like that. But this game was okay. I bared through a few hours of it. But it's the same basic principle. The storyline was even generic this time around on top of it all. So it's just, we know why the games were made. Yes, it was free on Game Pass, but it was released 2 years ago. So I couldn't imagine even thinking about paying for it then or even now. But I mean, it's decently put together. I don't want to sound like I'm completely saying this game, if you like these kind of games, it'd probably be worth your time on Game Pass for sure. But I'm kind of tired of these rinse and repeat games that we've been coming through. Not by any choice of our own. It's just what we have releasing right now. So, Shane, what about you? What you got to follow up after my little rant there?
I like it. I prefer Mech Assault over Mechwarrior. I prefer a little more arcadey. The sim style is hard to get used to at first. Controlling the upper and lower body, getting those in sync, making sure that you're keeping your brain in on that. Your butt's going one way, but your guns are going the other, and it will trip you up a little bit at the beginning. But overall, I liked it. It's like Pat said, it's above middle of the road. It's definitely not a boring game. It may not be the most exciting either, but it also depends if you're a mech person, mech warrior, mech, lover, but my biggest complaint about the game, honestly, is the story. It definitely has not progressed since the 90s. It's still very one-liners, and it's if you ever seen a Stallone movie from the 90s, it's that with robots. That's your script. It's really my biggest issue. They had some pretty cool ideals. Overall, I think they should concentrate more on the mech part than try to give some sort of a pilot history or crap like that. But overall, I think if you're a mech player, you're a mech lover, you like robots essentially, you'll get some fun out of it. Like Pat also said, the co-op is kind of a cheat the way they say co-op, but it was still fun for us. We were on here last night still playing, and we had a good time. It's fun to laugh with it. It's fun to watch your buddy running around with 2 arms missing, and all he's got left is a laser beam, and he can't shoot it because he just overheats instantly and locks up. But the overall game, I enjoy. I would like to see some change, especially on the graphical end and the story end. Graphics are fine. Story is my biggest issue, but their graphics could definitely, use a good upgrade. But that's really all I got. Pat, what did you think about the different modes that we played through, though? I mean, you have the co-op, and then we had a few other modes where, we were attacking bases, we were defending bases. What did you think about the variety of what we had to do?
Well, first thing is, if you're playing Mechwarrior for the story, you got the wrong game genre right there. It's a very generic story. I won't spoil anything, but the story is super generic.
Yeah.
Sad thing happens.
That's what I was going to say. I totally forgot the name of the movie I was thinking of. Robot Jocks. It's not a B movie. It's a C+ maybe movie. But you have got to watch it.
They got Hugh Jackman in that one, right? Is that the one?
No, that's Real Steel.
That's Real Steel, yeah.
No, Robot Jocks.
That was Rock'em Sock'em Robots, the movie.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I hate when games say they have co-op campaign, because this game doesn't have co-op campaign. It has a cheesy version of co-op campaign, whereas you can only play with the mechs that the person hosting has and the pilots they have. You don't play as your own pilot. That's why you can only progress the main person's story. So that didn't really work out too far for us because, even though we play a decent amount, you don't get far enough to get 4 really good veteran pilots and 4 really decent mechs. So if somebody ends up playing with the junkyard mech, because that's all. You guys got 2 good mechs in the junk mech that you get in the beginning that can barely do anything. And then we had the actual co-op instant action missions, and the instant action missions that you pick from a number of pilots in the game and all the mechs, and you're only limited by your tonnage of the mechs and the tonnage of the mission requirements. And it seems like you can go over the mission tonnage requirements without any real negative effects that I saw. Maybe the game penalizes you for that. I do know that the 3 of us played quite a bit together, and if we pumped it up to the max level, we just got raffle stomped because we didn't have enough tonnage to circumvent the tonnage of the enemies. So there's that. You have to be careful with that. If you're playing anything less than 4 players, the difficulty doesn't scale right. You have to set the difficulty level to where you can meet the tonnage requirements. And what I mean by that is the max tonnage that you can get per person is 100 tons. And we were running some maps that had 400 ton requirements and stuff like that, and we could only fulfill 300 tons of it. So there's 3 of us running around in assault and heavy mechs trying to take out massive veteran squads of mechs that just railed you. So you have to pay attention to that. And there's some preset scenarios that we played, and then there's also, custom ones. So we found a lot more luck with the custom ones. There's all kinds of stuff from battling to destroying cities to protecting cities to taking out facilities. There's all kinds of different modes in that co-op, and we played quite a bit of it. It was fun. So it's got enough to keep you busy for a little while, but my biggest thing, the biggest downfall of this game is the co-op campaign isn't really non-existent. It's more there to help you if you feel the AI is crappy and your buddy's like, hey, I'm stuck on this level. Can you hop in and run this mech because the AI is an idiot and just keeps running into the building and killing himself or something,
Yeah, it's definitely a phone a friend mode. It's not a co-op mode.
Yep. It's not hard like Dark Souls, but it's basically like Dark Souls where you go in and you're like, hey, can you just hop in this mission for me? Help me kill this boss.
Yeah, except for they're all bosses. The difficulties on those things are pretty erratic. 60 to 70, it felt like a huge jump in pain. 50, we were running through that thing, just rocking soccer bro up, popping heads up everywhere. 60 and 70, boy, that changed quite a bit, quite drastically, especially all the damn little things they throw at you constantly. But, that was also kind of the excitement part of it. You get through that last wave, you finish your objective, and, the 3 of us are, hauling robot ass, pardon my language, as fast as we can with those slow things to get to the extract. And you've got mechs dropping bombs on you from behind like you ain't going nowhere. And, those are pretty cool moments. But, yeah, they were also stressful as hell. I don't normally sweat when I play a game, but I ruined some shirts and 1 pair of underwear.
Yeah, Mechwarrior should really allow you to run backwards. Like, I should be able to turn my torso completely backwards, and my body's still running forward, and me just shooting behind me. But no, you only get like a 90, basically got 180 degrees from the torso. So you can go from completely facing to the right side of the torso to facing the left side of the torso, but you can't completely spin 180 degrees. So, you got 90 degrees left, 90 degrees right from the direction that your legs are pointing. So it's just, it should allow me to face backwards. I don't understand that. The mech should allow that. I don't know. Maybe in the future they don't know how to run backwards. I don't know. Because the mech, when you actually, when you're walking backwards in a mech, it's super slow. It's not like the forward movement. So I'm like, that's pointless. Because a lot of times when we were running for the drop ship to get out of there, because we done stirred up the hornet's nest, they're just shooting you in the back, and we're like, come on, I wish I could just turn around and just waste these guys as they're chasing me, but you can't.
Oh, absolutely. But the first match we played online, I don't remember what you had it set to, Nick, but I'm pretty sure the word cornhole was in it, because it was hilarious. We walked out there, all right, let's do this. Boom, I'm the first one to blow up. Arms are in the back, 10 miles away. What the hell happened? You two laughing your butts off, and next thing you know, you two are getting chunked.
Yeah, I think that's when we were first learning it. I think I randomly just selected something. The first one we played was, what was it? It was in a snow level. It was snowing heavily. So it was like a snowstorm. There was like zero visibility. And yeah, we didn't know what we were doing, where we were going. There was an objective in front of us, so we just started heading that way. And it didn't work out so well. But the ones we played last night did. Most of them, anyway.
Yeah, I ended up having picked slowest mech on the face of the planet. I think it could go like 10 miles an hour or something. And I'm like way in the back, and those two are in front getting the crap shot at them. I'm like, I'll get there eventually, guys. Just to show up right when they die and everybody turns on me.
Oh, yeah, that was funny, too. We're rolling up there in tanks, and he's rolling up there in a Kia.
A Kia that's armor plated to the max. It just couldn't go very fast.
Yeah, that's the SE Sport.
But yeah, I mean, overall, it's a fun game in spurts, I should say. The campaign does get really involved the further along you go because you visit different systems. You can recruit different pilots. You can buy different mechs, and then they got like a negotiation system in there because you're a mercenary company. You're negotiating contracts where you can negotiate for more money up front. You can negotiate to have them repair damages, pay for damages to your mech at the end. And also salvage rights. And salvage rights can be important because I ran into a couple of missions where I didn't get enough salvage points put into it, and I lost out on getting a really nice mech that I destroyed. I was like, man, I really wish I could have got that mech. I needed like 2 more salvage points, and I could have had salvage rights on that mech to increase my pool of mechs. Because in the campaign, when you're playing it, you damage your mechs. There's no way you can go into a mission without getting your mech damaged at all. And when it gets damaged and you get back, you have to repair it, and repair takes time and it takes money. So they take credits from you, and then there's also a set period of time where that mech is in basically the repair bay getting repaired. You can't use it. So you have to cycle out your mechs if you want to keep a momentum going on missions. Or you can wait till the mech's repaired, but eventually you're going to run out of time on certain missions and certain things where you need to get done in a specific amount of time. So it's good to have a good pool of different mechs and co-pilots to go around with you. It's very much a shooter beat 'em up type game, because it's mechs, but it's also got a little bit of strategy on how you're going to approach each mission and with what type of mech and what type of loadout. Because you go into a mission and you're like, well, I'm going to swap out one of my hard points for a anti-missile defense system, and you go in and it's a bunch of tanks not shooting missiles at you. Well, you just wasted a hard point slot for that mission that could have helped you out. Or you load all 8 slots down with laser weapons, and you end up firing one shot, and your whole mech shuts down because you're like, well, there's blew my wad and overheated my mech, and everything just shoots at a non-moving dead target.
Oh, yeah, that was funny as hell, too. I think it was one of the first matches we jumped in. We're all like, pachoo, pachoo, and I can't move.
Right.
Yeah.
Overall, it's fun. I would say it's fun, and overall, the campaign it's okay. I mean, it's a generic story. And it just gets you familiar with modifying mechs and buying, getting NPC AI pilots to go along with you, and then building up your nice little mech fleet to go into battle with you. But it's so much more fun to play with friends than single player campaign for me anyway, for Mechwarrior games. And this, the campaign was a very big letdown for me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was a letdown. I just think they need some new script writers. They really need somebody that was born in, 2000. Somebody who's seen a movie that's current, because everything they pitched and they spoke and their actions were all from, the 90s. It's like, that's pretty cheesy. But,
well, and when I mean campaign, I mean the co-op campaign. The co-op portion of the campaign was a huge letdown because it really isn't a co-op campaign. It's not.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Just like, was it Dead by Daylight? What's the zombie game we played on Xbox?
State of Decay was the same
State of
way
Decay.
in that sense.
Yeah, that's just wrong, and that's just kind of a cheat to say it's a co-op campaign. It's not. It's phone a friend, and your friend gets boned on the end of it. Right. They really do.
I got to get a lifeline. Yeah. Who am I going to call?
Yep.
Ghostbusters.
I got a bloater. I got a tank.
I did like the negotiation points, though. That was kind of a cool aspect. I did like putting in for damages because I'm like, yeah, you're going to pay me. I'm going to buy insurance, basically.
I'm going to run this thing into the wall. Every building I find, I'm trucking this thing through it so that, I'm getting $400,000 for this mission, but I'm also having $375,000 worth of damage at the end of it.
Yeah. Isn't that how Nick did half of those destroy their base missions? He's out of ammo. He's just barreling his butt right through all the buildings.
He's face planting his mech.
Gotta do what you gotta do. Gotta finish the mission, even if that means taking your mech through a 30-story building or whatever.
Yeah.
He'd be like, oh my God, he ran through the nursery.
But, this is a perfect Game Pass game. No, it really is, because everybody likes robots in some form or another. So this is one people can check out. If they have a slight interest in a robot, they might like it. Like I said, I prefer a arcade mech over a sim mech, unless it's Steel Battalion. I get my big controllers and hit my eject button. But I enjoyed it. I think if you have Game Pass, don't skip it. I think just give it a download, give it a try. It's really easy to learn. You just got to get used to monitoring things, monitoring your heat, monitoring your body position. That's probably the hardest thing I felt, was just remembering to think about those things.
Right. And what groups your weapons are in and stuff, like what particular groups they have grouping. So certain weapons are in particular groups. So that means they'll basically fire at the same time when you press on that group, lasers and stuff like that. But you got to there's a lot of little things like that, little technical things that and they have some spellings and various things, like, the automated missile system is the AMS, which when you're first starting in the game, you're like, what is AMS? Or they have arm lock and you're like, what's arm lock? So there's a lot of stuff, a lot of terminology in the game that you kind of have to maybe look up, which is a good idea to look up to know what it does, because maybe it might be useful, to have it. But yeah, I think it's a good Game Pass game. It's a lot of fun, especially if you have some, if you have some friends. The instant action is a lot of fun just to get in there and start. Because that one, unlike to play the co-op campaign, you have to go through the first act, which can take a couple hours. It's like 4 or 5 missions, and it can take a little while, and then that's when you can actually start playing co-op. I believe, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the instant action you can play right off the bat. I don't think you have to wait for Act 1 to be done. So the instant action is what we played the most, and that was the funnest part, because like Patrick said, there were pre-made scenarios, and then you can make your own scenario, and different selections and options and stuff on what you want to do, and visibilities and weather options, and what factions you're going to fight and stuff. So you get different types of mechs that way and stuff like that. So, I think it's pretty fun for a Game Pass game. I don't know if it's a game I would buy, at full price. It probably would be a sell game for me, but hey, we got Game Pass. We can just play for free.
Right. And I will say, a couple of hints tips there are, don't pull a bonehead move and set all your weapons to the same weapons group, because then you just fire all your weapons and it's basically you shot your wad and you go to sleep because you burn up all you basically set yourself on fire.
Yeah, I did that. Arm lock was fun.
Arm lock is a really good thing for those guys who are so this is a really good port to the console. I think the controls seem very good. They seem very well. But Nick mentioned arm lock, and it's something I had to look up. I'm like, what the heck is arm lock? But arm lock basically keeps your legs going the same direction as your torso automatically. So while you're playing the game, you can hit Y on the Xbox, and it'll basically try to line the legs with the direction your torso is facing. So if you're looking left shooting at a mech and you have the forward button push on the controller, if you push Y, it will slowly bring the legs to face the same direction as the torso. But if you put arm lock on, it just does that automatically. So whatever way the torso is facing, the legs will automatically trek that way eventually. So it's one of those things that I kept on all the time, because I found that I was constantly pushing Y to bring my legs back up under me, because I'd be like, I can't turn any more to the left because my freaking legs are going off to the right, and I'm going off here, and I can't get a bead on that enemy. So I did that one. And manage your heat, heat, because that's your lifeblood. If you're getting the crap shot out of you and you're like 90% heat and you fire that laser, you're going night-night.
Yep.
So it's got a lot to learn. It's got a decent learning curve in it, and I would say give it a shot. If you are a Mechwarrior fan, give it a shot. Even if you're not and you have Game Pass, it's worth a try.
Yeah, especially if you and your friends, it's kind of a dry time on games. It's definitely a good jump in and just blow crap up game. It really is. It's a good game for that. It's perfect for that. I would pay the price of Game Pass for this game because it's not, like I said, it's a sim. It's not typically my kind of mech game, but it's definitely worth the price, I think, of Game Pass. So
cool. It's a play for me. It's not a buy full price. If I had to buy it, it's definitely a sale game for me, and like 50% off sale game for me.
Yeah. What is the price? Does anybody know if you buy it outright on Xbox?
Do not.
I'm not sure what it is.
Well, whatever it is, take half of it, and that's what you'd pay.
Right. Yeah. So like I said, it's definitely normally a sell game for me, but if you got Game Pass, I think what does it say? So on Steam, it's only $30 right now. So
on Xbox, I just pulled it up on Xbox. It's also $30.
So I would pay $30 for this.
And supposedly the expansion's pretty good. The expansion's got pretty high marks in the ratings, user ratings.
I almost bought the expansion just because I saw that, and it enables ray tracing and stuff like that with the expansion. So I almost bought it, but I didn't. The single player campaign is okay, and I may do it. It just depends on what happens. If I get in a bind where I don't have anything to play, that may come up for me. Cool.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's a problem right now. Is games are kind of a little dry, especially with consoles being hard to get. Because some of us here haven't been able to get a PlayStation 5 yet. I won't name names, but I hate my life. But games are a little dry. But this is a perfect game to just jump in and out of.
Cool. Anybody else got anything else they want for Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries? Cool. All right. Well, I think it's time to try to chow down on that brownie brick that was overcooked in the microwave from the TV dinner. Might end up using it as a brick to throw through a window more than just trying to eat it. So we hope you enjoyed this episode, and we hope to catch you in the next episode.
See ya.